गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी। यशोदानंदन व्रजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर जय गोवर्धन धारी। मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर जय गोवर्धन धारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण माता जी, हरे कृष्ण all the devotees.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. Hare Krishna Janvi Mataji, welcome
Hare
you to the
Krishna
ICF forum.
Mataji.
So nice to see you again Mataji. Thank you for your time. Hare Krishna. Mataji, you want us to share the screen?
Yes, Mataji, yeah, if you can.
Yes. Rohini Mataji.
Yes, I
Yes,
will
Mataji.
share.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukkam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat krupatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Vayam Rupa Kadamahyam Datati Swapadamkitam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyasya cha Krupa Sindhubhya eva cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्थो हि अभद्राणि विध्नोति सुहृत्सतम्। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Am I audible, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes,
Yes.
Mataji.
So let's start this section of Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 28, the execution of the devotional service, right? Description. What is the title name? Execution of devotional service. Verse 41. Anybody would like to recite? Anasuya Mataji or someone?
Ansuya Mataji can do the shlok, no? And Mataji, do you want us to read the translation?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. And purport also, Mataji?
Yeah.
Sure. So Ansuya Mataji can read the verse. Vasudha Mataji can do the translation and first paragraph of the purport, and Suma Mataji the second and the last paragraph. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. भूतेन्द्रियान्तः करणात् प्रधानात् जीवसंहितात् आत्मसता पृथग्द्रष्टा भगवान् ब्रह्म संहितः. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Parabrahma, is the seed. He is different from the Jiva, soul, or individual living entity, who is combined with the senses, the five elements, and consciousness. Purport, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. A clear conception of the complete whole is given here with. The living entity is different from the material elements and the supreme living entity, the personality of Godhead, who is the creator of the material elements, is also different from the individual living entity. This philosophy is propounded by Lord Chaitanya as Achintya Beda Tattva. Everything is simultaneously one with and different from everything else. The cosmic manifestation created by the Supreme Lord by his material energy is also simultaneously different and non-different from him. The material energy is non-different from the Supreme Lord, but at the same time, because that energy is acting in a different way, it is different from him. Similarly, the individual living entity is one with and different from the Supreme Lord. This simultaneously one and different philosophy is the perfect conclusion of the Bhagavata school as confirmed here by Kapila Deva. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. Living entities are compared to the sparks of a fire. As stated in the previous verse, fire, flame, smoke, and firewood are combined together. Here, the living entity, the material elements, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are combined together. The exact position of the living entities is just like that of the sparks of a fire. They are part and parcel. The material energy is compared to the smoke. The fire is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. In the Vishnu Purana, it is said that whatever we can see or experience, either in the material or spiritual world, is an expansion of the different energies of the Supreme Lord. As fire distributes its light and heat from one place, the Supreme Personality of Godhead distributes his different energies all over his creation. The four principles of the Vaishnava philosophic doctrine are Shuddha Advaita, purified oneness, Dvaita Advaita, simultaneous oneness and difference, Vishishta Advaita, and Dvaita. All four principles of Vaishnava philosophy are based on the thesis of Srimad Bhagavatam explained in these two verses. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So here in this chapter, Kapila Muni is instructing Devahuti on the aspects of execution of devotional service. So he started explaining to her, starting with, how the Ashtanga Yoga process is there in the beginning of this chapter, like how this yama, niyama, something which we should do, that is yama, and some things which we shouldn't do in the process of devotional service. And that way we come closer to the God. So he instructed on of all the Ashtanga Yoga process, yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara, dharana, and then how you have to, dhyana, dharana, and then pratyahara, and then samadhi. So one has to do all the activities or whatever duties we are supposed to to the best of our abilities, and we should avoid duties which are not meant to be done. So this is what he was being teaching to her, and then he come to a point where now after the conclusion of that is where you come to the samadhi state, and that is that she could now get into the understanding of that devotion, and then with that compassionate glance on the various limbs of the Lord, which he instructed her how to perform this Ashtanga yoga. He described all this to her, and seeing this form, what happens to someone who is into that particular state, that yogi is no longer desires anything to see. He come to that stage that he no longer want to see anything, and then gradually in that yogi a pure love will awaken, and then there'll be joy, and then the development of how when the mind and their consciousness, everything is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord and various limbs of the Lord, the mind will withdraw from all other aspects of this material world. So totally they will disconnect from the world, from this mind, from this world and all other material activities. So the mind will now try to become one with the Lord. So even if it is becoming one with the Lord, it does not act separately, but acts according to the will of the Lord. So that means that this we described in the previous chapters also, like when Brahma was executing all other activities instructed by the Lord, same thing. So there is no false ego or nothing is predominant. It's just that you are doing according to the will of the Lord everything, and there is nothing that you want to do something. So they don't act separately, but they act only on the will of the Lord. So that yogi at that point try to establish the relationship with the Lord, because he don't have anything else to do in this material world. So he is withdrawn from all the activities. Now he is focusing more only on establishing relationship with the Lord, and then he discovers that there is a pleasure in this, and then he also understands that the pain is coming from the false ego and then the ignorance he had earlier. And then this particular realization, it's a true identity. And then he forgets his bodily demands, meant whatever is required for our body to maintain. Most of the focus is not on that. It's just only on the, serving the Lord and building a relationship with the Lord like this. So at this point of time, Lord will completely take charge of that particular person or of yogi, full complete, and then until all the activities are finished in this world. So then he becomes liberated. Then he realizes that his body and soul is different, and they are not on the same level, like that. So and he tries to see everything as in connection with the Lord. So here it is mentioned, right? What is it mentioned in the verse here, purport in the beginning? The clear conception of the complete whole is given here with. So the living entity is different from material elements, and the supreme living entity, the supreme personality of Godhead, who is a creator, is also different from the individual living entity. So here the main information is about the understanding about the yogi, that a person who is like trying to detach from these material activities. So though in the previous verse we learned, right, though the person who is holding wealth to maintain the family members, that person is different. I mean, is different to wealth, his possessions, property, family members, etc. There is an identification and attachment is still there, but it's different. Similarly, the jiva is also identifies oneself from the body and the spirit, and jiva understands that I am different from the body. On one level, although let's say a father will have an attachment to the child, to the home, to the property, but a father will also provide all the necessities for the family, to the children, and he will feed them, but father has to personally eat to maintain his body and his belly. So until that time, he is satisfied with family members are eating, but he still has to eat to maintain. So he understands he is different from them, but even he is attached to them, like that. So this means he is different from them. The higher level, we understand jiva in the similar aspect, that jiva understand that I am different from this body. I have to maintain, because the body belongs to the jiva, so maintain, but I am different from this body. So jiva gets this realization that we have to work, because see, our legs, hands, eyes, everything is moving, everything is working. But still, Jiva realizes that his body is different from all of this. And then there is a spiritual identity which he has to work on. So, and then the example is given, right? Fire is different from the sparks, smoke, and wood, etc. Like that. When fire is lit to the wood, it looks like that wooden log and the fire are together. Yeah. But if the wooden log is not facilitated with the fire, then there'll be no fire and it will be exhausted. So fire as the element is different and it continues to exist. Similarly, the Lord is in our heart, living entity's heart, but all other elements are different from the living entities, like that. So liberated soul actually try to um, conquer Maya, and he's situated in that liberated state. And that particular stage is what, Kapila Dev is answering to Devahuti on Ashtanga Yoga aspect. And then he is mentioning to her that you have to, this main aspect is that emphasizing about Jiva is different. Like, this tattva of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Achintya Veda Veda tattva means, the exact position of Jiva is like that of sparks of the fire. They are part and parcel of the Lord, and the material energies is compared to the smoke, but fire is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So, like that, in this material world, you see everything is expansion of the Lord. Lot of, all the universes, all the mountains, whatever, all the energies we see in this material world, oceans, everything is coming from various energies of the Lord. And this is distributed like that. Just like, as fire distributes the light and heat from one place to another place, like that Lord is also distributing his energies all over his creation. So mainly emphasizing on that, Lord is what do I say, that he is there, but he is aloof from that. When we remember the verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 10, it says that, right? Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam hetuna nena kaunteya jagat vipare vartate. So what does that mean? This material energy, which is one of my energies, is just working under my direction, producing all moving and non-moving living beings, like that. Under his rule only, this manifestation is created, annihilated again and again. So Lord is seed giving father, but he's injecting into everything into this material world, and all the species are created according to the desires and activities. But Lord's glance is just there, but Lord is aloof from all the activities. So he's not interfering with us. He's aloof from that. So here in the purport, Prabhupada is also mentioning in the end that about the Sampradayas, Vaishnava philosophic doctrines, Shuddha Advaita, purified oneness, Dvaita Advaita, simultaneously one and difference, Vishishta Advaita and Dvaita. So there's 4 Sampradayas. We all know, right? How many of you are aware of the Sampradayas?
Gaudiya
Yes, Mataji.
Gaudiya
Three.
Sampradaya is where we belong
Shri
to.
Sampradaya,
Sri
Yeah.
Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya,
Rudra
and
Sampradaya,
Kumara
And
Sampradaya.
Gaudiya
Kumara
Vaishnava Sampradaya, which is ours.
Yeah. So there is a Brahma Sampradaya, that is Madhva Sampradaya is also there, and Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya is also there. There's Lakshmi Sampradaya, that is Ramancharya Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, and there is a Rudra Sampradaya also called Shiva Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, Vallabha Sampradaya, they're all under.
Nimbarka.
And then the one is Kumara Sampradaya, which is also called Nimbarka Sampradaya. And then Shanakadi Sampradaya, like that. So then we have got various acharyas on these Sampradayas, respective Sampradayas. And in Madhva Sampradaya, Madhvacharya is there, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. And in Sri Sampradaya, Ramanujacharya. And in Shiva Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami, Vallabhacharya. And in Kumara Sampradaya, Nimbarkacharya is Acharya. And then there is a Tattva also related to that. So Madhvacharya's Tattva is Shuddha Dvaita Vada, the purified dualism. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's is Achintya Veda. So inconceivably oneness and difference. So What does that mean? What is oneness and difference means? You all aware of this, right?
Yes, Mataji. Achintya Veda Abheda Tattvanu, Mataji.
Yeah.
We are all one in one
This
sense, like
means
in the
that
quality,
God
but we are
is
not
there.
not.
Yeah, Mataji, continue.
Sorry, Mataji, you can continue. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So,
Go on, Mataji.
Achintya, Veda, Abheda, what we understand is that God is inconceivable in the way that He is there present. He's part of the material world, but He's not a part of it is the material world doesn't affect Him. So it is not He's not a part of it, the material world that way. This is how we understand.
He
We
is
are
one.
Similar in
qualitatively
quality
one
and different
quantity.
in quantity.
Yeah. So he is at the same time he is one and simultaneously different, like that. Let's say you take an example of a drop of a ocean. So the ocean drop has got all the taste and quality of everything, but in quantity wise, it's only a drop. But in the ocean, there's innumerable drops. And then if you see the mountain of gold, so there is some ornament of gold that is qualitatively has got some features of that gold is there, but quantitatively mountain is bigger than the gold, right? Like that. Even if you see that sunlight and the sunshine and the sun, like that, it's one, but it's different also. Like that, the energies of the Lord is also like he is providing all of us these energies, but at the same time he's different. Is just not that only energy. It's different. It's much higher than that energy. So like that, here the fire is distributing its light and heat from one place. So Supreme Lord's energies are also getting distributed everywhere, this creation. So the yogi try to see and experience that. And he is trying to understand that, either in material world or spiritual world, we are, as the fire here is representing whom? Sparks of the fire.
Sparks is the living entity.
Fire is the Supreme Lord.
Fire
So our position is that like sparks of the fire. So we are part and parcel of that fire. But in the fire, there's so many sparks, right? So you are one and different. If a fire spark is one, but it's different also. So that is what it is. Yeah. So example of that. So the other sampradayas, we don't want to go deep into that because it will itself is a big topic. So these four, yes, Mataji.
Mataji, there are 4 given, no, Mataji, but what is said is that, no, Mataji, Vaishnava philosophy these all come under the Vaishnava philosophy only.
Yeah,
Mataji.
they're all bona fide philosophies.
Then what
They're all
about
bona
that
fide.
impersonalist, Mataji? What do they say? Like they say that we have to.
They are
also
not
say
coming under any sampradaya. So Mayavadis, don't come under any sampradaya.
that philosophy, Mataji, Advaita, Vishishta Advaita, Dvaita. They come under which?
I'm not aware of that term. So sorry, Mataji.
Hare. Okay.
Yeah. As far as I know, they are come under Mayavadi philosophy. So Shankaracharyas could be.
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes Mataji, Dvaita, this is Shankaracharya's philosophy.
Shankaracharyas, yeah.
Advaita is Ramanujacharya's.
Ramanujacharya, yeah.
And Madhvacharya. Ramanujacharya is Vishishta Advaita.
Yeah.
So here all 4 principles of Vaishnava philosophy are based on this Srimad Bhagavatam only.
Yeah.
So no one sampradayas were aware apart from Bhagavatam.
Correct.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. So that Mayavada philosophy is connected to Shankaracharya's.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare. Archana Mataji, kindly mute Mataji.
Yeah. So shall we go to the next one? Next verse?
Yes, Mataji. So Sudha Mataji can read the verse. Shanti Mataji can read the translation. And Chandana Mataji can read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
सर्वभूतेषु चात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षेतानन्यभावेन भूतेष्विव तद् आत्मताम्. हरे कृष्ण.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A yogi should see that same soul in all manifestations for all that exist in a manifestation of different energies of the Supreme. In this way, the devotee should see all living entities without distinction. That is realization of the Supreme Soul. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Read the
Chandana
purport.
Mataji, you'll read the purport?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, not only does the Supreme Soul enter each and every universe, but he enters even the atoms. The Supreme Soul is present everywhere in the dormant stage, and when one can see the presence of the Supreme Soul everywhere, one is liberated from the material designations. The word Sarva Bhuteshu is to be understood as follows. There are 4 different divisions of species: living entities which sprout from the earth, living entities born of fermentation or germination, living entities which come from eggs, and living entities which come from the embryo. These 4 divisions of living entities are expanded in 84 lakh species of life. A person who is freed from material designation can see the same quality of spirit present everywhere or in every manifested living entity. Less intelligent men think that plants and grass grow out of the earth automatically. But one who is actually intelligent and has realized that the self can see that this growth is not automatic. The cause is the soul, and the forms come out in material bodies under different conditions. By fermentation in the laboratory, many germs are born, but this is due to the presence of the soul. The material scientists think that the eggs are lifeless, but that is not a fact. From Vedic scriptures, we understand that living entities in different forms are generated under different conditions. Birds evolve from eggs, and beasts and human beings are born from the embryo. The perfect vision of the yogi or devotee is that he sees the presence of the living entity everywhere. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So yeah, so this is a continuation of the verse which we read. So 41 verse is explaining about emphasizing on the Lord is different from all the Jivatmas, living entities. Now this is emphasizing on oneness aspect of the Lord. No? This is 42 verse, right? It is as emphasizing on oneness aspect of the Lord. So just as fire is different from the wood, sparks, and the smoke, like that the Lord is different from the Jivas. Jivas, we are all combined with senses and all the 5 elements and consciousness are all there. So Lord is different from all of this. And then now a yogi, you should be able to see such super soul, and not only in seeing super soul in one, in himself, but he will see in every living entity. The super soul is existing in every manifestation of the Lord, even in the atom. So yogi should see the same soul in all manifestations, and that is existing and different variegatedness of energies of the Lord. In this way, devotee is seeing that, all the living entities without distinction, Pandita Samadarshana, right? That should be the realization of the super soul. What is that? Anybody knows the verse? Pandita Samadarshana, 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. 5 point.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane
Brahmane Gavi Hastine
Shuni Chaiva Swapaketa Pandita Samadarshina.
Yeah, so this is what is important for a yogi to establish that relationship with the Lord. He has to arrive this aspect. Yeah. So I stated in Brahma Samhita also that super soul, when he enters each and every universe. So how the super soul is entering into each and every universe? What is the form of that super soul when he's entering into the universe?
Paramatma.
Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then later he will enter into each and every atom. That is Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. Yeah.
Kshirodakshayi.
Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. Yeah. So super soul is present everywhere in the dormant stage. So that is Upadrishta is there, right? He is overseeing, witnessing all of us. So one can see the presence of that super soul everywhere. That person is liberated from all the material designations. So the word Sarva Bhuteshu is very important here. Sarva Bhuteshu means in all living entities. Yeah. So seeing everything in relation to that Vasudeva. And then we have the verse in 7th chapter also. Pahunam janmanam ante jnanamam prapadyate. Vasudeva sarvamiti. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. What is happening there? After many, many births and deaths also, one who is actually knowledge surrenders unto the Lord. He says, Krishna says that, knowing me to be the cause of all causes. And that is it. Such a great soul is very rare. Krishna declares this in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 19, right? So, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. One who sees like this, the super soul existing in each and every living entity, including the atoms, and then such person is having complete knowledge. And that knowledge is complete and perfect. So, person who, of that knowledge, after many, many, many lifetimes, is cultivating that knowledge. It's going on. It's not just once off. We can't have that. So after so many lifetimes cultivating this knowledge, he is coming to this conclusion that Vasudevam Sarvamiti. That Jnanam is referring to cultivating that path of spiritual knowledge. So generally, when there is this Jnana mark, it's referred to cultivation of spiritual knowledge only. With the conception that after many, many lifetimes, we are concluding to the conclusion that Vasudevam Sarvamiti. But if you neglect to worship the Supreme Lord, even though after great endeavor, then what happens? They don't understand. They can't understand the supreme aspect of, Paramatma feature of the Lord. And then, even if they are reaching the Brahma Jyoti, that Brahman feature of the Lord, there is a chance of, falling down because they are neglecting the worship of the lotus feet of the Lord. Yeah. So the last verse of this chapter describes on that aspect in detail very beautifully. But, person attains certain kinds of knowledge. They are, cultivating because they understand that this is, so they were Sarvamiti, like that. So if you don't, after you even get that knowledge, if you don't, then it is just like, there's an example given, it's just like that a person is, trying to get the rice out of that husk. Yeah. If you beat the husk to get the rice, extract the grain, you keep on doing it. And then, after some time, nothing will come out of it. If you keep doing it, then it is useless labor. So then you cultivate the spiritual knowledge, but you have to do what? Worship the lotus feet of the spiritual Lord, Supreme Lord. If you don't do that, nothing will happen. So like that. So there are two kinds of vidyas are there. There's a Paravidya, means knowledge about the Supreme Spirit, and then there is a Aparavidya, that is knowledge about this material world. So we have so much of material knowledge is given. Though this material knowledge is given, the Vedic culture emphasis is already there. Traditionally in Vedic culture, what happens? We give a lot of respect to a person who focusing on the spiritual knowledge. And still it is going on in India. We respect the sadhus and, Babajis in various holy dhams. And then it's a part of, a lot of culture aspect. A part of it is there and remains like that, even if there is without knowledge. But what happens if there is, for example, the head of the society, Brahmana, is without any intelligence, and then they don't know the ultimate truth, and then let's say the chicken is cutting off the head like that. So there is no connection. Even if you gain the knowledge, but there is no connection in terms of applying, then you don't understand the aspect of after many lifetimes also it's useless labor only, that jnana mark. So that is what we have to understand, that this Bhagwan realization, when you get to the Brahman realization, that's the highest truth. But there, the Vedic knowledge says that the spiritual knowledge is giving that we have to focus on the worship of the Supreme Lord. So all the source is coming from the Supreme Lord, everything, and we are all sheltered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like that. So someone, a devotee who is in the topmost level like that, he sees every living being as a part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's also mentioned in actually where in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, it is mentioned. It's Navayogendras and Nimi Maharaj conversation there. There's a beautiful verse in that particular section. Maharaj Nimi meets the Navayogendras and chapter 2, verse 2, I think. Yeah, chapter 2, verse 45, sorry, not 2. There's a beautiful verse. I just want to go through a few points there because just give some information there. Going through this Veda base. Sorry about that. Yeah. Mataj, I don't know, you can't share it, right, Mataji?
You can tell me, I'll share it here.
Yeah, 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 45 verse. So there, it's a very big one, but I don't want to go into detail, but I just mentioned there, see what happened, the advanced devotees. These are the yogis who are advanced. 11 to 45. There it is mentioned that, the advanced devotee sees everything, the soul of the souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And he sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. He understands that everything exists is eternally situated within the Lord. So like that, Krishna is also saying in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 30, in that purport mentioned, Yomam Pashyanti Sarvatra Sarvam Chamai Pashyati. Tasyaham na pranashyami sachamena pranashyati. So what Krishna says there? For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I have never lost, nor he is ever lost to me. So Prabhupada is commenting there, a person in Krishna consciousness sees Lord Krishna everywhere and he sees everything in Krishna. So what can we attribute to this aspect? Seeing everything, person in Krishna conscious knows that everything is manifestation of Krishna's energy. He sees everything Krishna, everywhere Krishna in this material energy. Nothing is without Krishna, and Krishna is a Lord of everything. This is basic principle of Krishna consciousness, right? But what can we think of, like on this basis in our day-to-day life?
Mataji,
How
the
can we relate
water,
it?
taste in water is Krishna. The sound of home is Krishna. Like that,
Krishna.
whenever we see trees or
Sunlight,
anything,
moonlight, moonlight,
sunlight, everything is Krishna's.
Yeah, and then what else we can do?
We can be in complete Krishna consciousness, Mataji.
But how can we be complete Krishna conscious?
Mataji, we can be compassionate towards the soul who are not yet into Krishna consciousness. By praying for them.
We can serve
looking at them
everyone
and
thinking that they
their-
are part and parcel of the Lord, Mataji.
Yeah, but that is at a higher level. I mean, we have to reach there to do that. But to reach there, what we have to do at a basic level?
Sadhana,
Associate
Mataji.
with higher devotees,
Say
Mataji.
love activities.
Do prachar, Mataji.
Yeah.
Mataji,
but-
bhoga and so
So
whatever.
Follow the Guru's instructions and
Yeah, all these is the
accept
4
a Guru,
regulative
Mataji,
principles,
bona fide.
and you have to chant Mahamantra minimum 16 rounds at least, and then serving the devotees, being compassionate. Jiva Daya is important, Vaishnava Seva is important. Then Ruchi taste for the chanting is important. But apart from all this, a person in Krishna conscious sees Lord Krishna everywhere, and he sees everything in Krishna. That person is actually trying to use whatever resources they have in Krishna service. So they are actually doing, what is that? Yukta Vairagya. The basic thing is there, Yukta Vairagya they are doing. So they are trying each and everything they are trying to utilize in the service of the Lord. They are not interested in doing anything apart from that. Right? Isn't it? Yeah.
Yes,
And then that qualification is what? Qualification for seeing Krishna everywhere is mentioned in Brahma Samhita, again in this purport Prabhupada said, Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Sandha Sadeva Sudeshu Vilokayanti. Yam Shama Sundaramachinte Gunaswarupam Govindamadipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So there he says that, whoever, worship primeval Lord Govinda is seeing, how is he seeing a devotee? His eyes are anointed with the pulp of love, like how, Matajis, we all apply kajal. It's like that. Without that, eyes won't get attracted. So it is like that. For a devotee, love of Godhead awakens. And he is seeing this form of Supreme Lord, Shamasundara, which is situated in the heart of a devotee. And that is the highest qualification one is getting it. And spiritual vision one is having. And then Prabhupada gave a beautiful example there. That Hiranyakashipu is questioning his self-realized son Prahalad. He's asking, where is your Lord? Show me. You're talking too much like this. No, you're a pure devotee. Now you tell me, where is your Lord? Is he here? Is he there? Is he in this pillar? Like that he asked, right? And he's a demonic father. He asked, if the God is in the pillar of the palace. Now Prahlad Maharaj easily answered. He says, yes, Hiranyakashipu is a demon, but you just, he with great anger strike the pillar and then try to kill the Lord. But what happened, we all know, right? Narasimhadev came, ferocious form of the Lord, and he appeared, and then he protected Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj is Uttamadhikari devotee like that. He's seeing everywhere Lord. He's not thinking Lord is not here, Lord is not there, Lord is here, like that. When someone, when he got punished, he was being put into a snake pit. He was being thrown from a top of the hill. He was being given a poison of milk, and then he was also put into a boiling oil, right? Hot oil, fire, everything. But still, he is not worried because he is all the time remembering the Lord. And he is seeing Lord only everywhere. So we see in the children when we tell the story when Prahlad Maharaj is put into the snake pit, all the snakes actually pay obeisances, dandavats to Prahlad Maharaj. No one will bite him, right? So he is a Uttamadhikari. Like that, if a pure devotee is completely freed from all these kind of allurements in this material world, that separately enjoying attitude is no more there. So that is the problem we had, independently enjoying from these, that's the reason Lord has facilitated this material world and we are trying to separately enjoy. Now, when we come to the understanding that we do no more wanting to withdraw from all these material activities, yogi is withdrawn already, and no more wanting to do anything other than whatever Lord is allowing him to do, then that's where he is seeing the Lord everywhere. And he wants to do whatever he says. Say, no, if Lord is allowing you to go to hell, okay, you're going to hell, that's fine. Lord is giving me service there, I'm going there. That's it. That should be the attitude of a Uttamadhikari. He is not having any fear of going anywhere because he's seeing Lord everywhere. Like how Prahlad Maharaj was not having any fear of these punishments. He was happy to receive it because wherever he's seeing Lord only and he's there to protect, like that. So devotee in that highest advanced stage, they don't get any pleasure in these material activities, and then they experience that increasing love for the Lord because all the angas they are using only for the pleasure of the Lord. The senses are used for the pleasure of the Lord. So that is seeing Krishna everywhere, and then nothing is lost. So that Shastra Chakshu has to be there. Now we are reading everything. Now we have to see Krishna everywhere with that spiritual eyes. Goloka eva nivasate. So as long as we are, trying to attribute ourselves with this material world, and then suffering keeps coming to us, and then there's an enjoyment is a misconception we are understanding, and we're doing it. Like for example, in Calcutta, the bombs were sent by Japan, and then most of them were evacuating. Srila Prabhupada said, I will stay here only. If the bomb is coming, means it's okay. This is Krishna coming in the form of that. That is what Srila Prabhupada's mood was. So advanced person always thinks that nothing belongs to me and he will never get influenced by material world. Like that. So as long as, we are using everything in the service of the Lord, all the facilities, even like, Prabhupada used to live only simple living, high thinking. He used to live in a simple hut in Mayapur. In any other place also, he was very using all the facilities, very bare minimum. But devotees out of love and affection provided a lot of, good facilities to Prabhupada. It's just that, these opulences are only to attract the people who are materialistic so that in some way we can preach and they can stay there and they can continue their, worship and sadhana like that. But they are not interested. This is Goswamis also. They live in Vrindavan. Bare minimum facilities. They're writing, distributing books and giving this knowledge. They're not interested in anything else. They are only completely connected with the Lord, observing in the Lord like that. So yeah, but if they are taking up some kind of, accepting some comforts, that means they are seeing Lord in everything. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. They're like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, upon the inspection of his Guru Maharaj, he accepted comforts. But it's only because that, he's seeing Lord there also. In those opulences also they are seeing Lord. Like that we have an example from Chaitanya Charitamrita also. Anybody remember? Who is that king name? I forgot now.
Mataji, Prataparudra.
Prataparudra is in the pastime of Rath Yatra, right?
Yes, Miss Mataji.
Yeah, Prataparudra also, but there's one more. Maybe I will.
Mataji, where Gadadhar Pandit comes and recites those 2 shlokas, that one you, Mataji, you're talking about?
No, not Gadadhar Pandit. It's a Pondarika Vidyanidhi, I think. Not able to remember. Yeah, but yeah, he's in a very opulent position. But he is like, when Mahaprabhu shares the pastimes, all the goosebumps comes on his hair. Like though he is opulent, he is not attributing. He is seeing Lord everywhere, like that. So yeah, we'll go to the next verse. I think we had a lot of time here. Yeah. Anyone wants to recite?
Yeah, Dr. Karpa Pagavalli Mataji will do the verse, and Sharmila Mataji can do the translation and first paragraph of purport, and Divya Desai Mataji can do the second paragraph. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Dandatna. Swayonishu yata doshtir ekam nana pratiyate yoninam guna vaisamyad tatatma prakato stita. Thank you, Mataji. Dandatna.
Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As fire is exhibited in different forms of wood, so under different conditions of the modes of material nature, the pure spirit soul manifests itself in different bodies. Purport. It is to be understood that the body is designated. Prakriti is an interaction by the 3 modes of material nature, and according to these modes, someone has a small body and someone has a very large body. For example, the fire in a big piece of wood appears very big, and in a stick, the fire appears small. Actually, the quality of fire is the same everywhere, but the manifestation of material nature is such that according to the fuel, the fire appears bigger and smaller. Similarly, the soul in the universal body, although of the same quality, is different from the soul in the smaller body. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
The smaller particles of soul are just sparks, just like the sparks of the larger soul. The greatest soul is the supreme soul, but the super soul is quantitatively different from the small soul. The super soul is described in the Vedic literature as the supplier of all necessities of the smaller soul, nityo nityam, nityanam. One who understands this distinction between the super soul and the individual soul is above lamentation and is a peaceful position. When the smaller soul thinks himself quantitatively as big as the larger soul, he is under the spell of Maya, for that is not his constitutional position. No one can become the greater soul simply by mental speculation. The smallness or greatness of different soul is described in the Varaha Purana as Swamsha Vibhinnamsha. The Swamsha soul is the supreme personality of Godhead, and the Vibhinamsha soul or small particles are eternally small particles as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Mamayva
Vamsho Jivaloke Jivabhuta.
Bhutami Sanatanaha. The smaller living entities are eternally part and parcel, and but therefore it is not possible for them to be quantitatively as great as the spiritual soul. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so this is what we were just trying to discuss, right? We've been doing it just as fire appears different in different forms of the wood under different conditions, there's different modes. The pure spirit soul manifest in different bodies. Like previous verse are also telling 8.4 million species, different categories are there, 4 different categories are there going into those 8.4 million species. So like that, the interaction, the Prakriti interacting with 3 modes, and according to these 3 modes, someone will have different bodies. Someone will be in the lower creature, someone will be in, the description was given, right? Germinating or fermenting bodies will come. Some bodies are appearing from earth, some are appearing from the embryo. So different bodies are coming. So fire example is given. Fire in a big piece of wood appears very big. Then small matchstick also, if you do, fire will come, right? So the fire is there everywhere, but the manifestation of that is according to the intensity. It's either bigger or smaller. Like that, similarly, you have a universal body, like Arjuna said, that universal form of the Lord. It's the same, it is different from the soul in the smaller body, like that. So that the small particles of the soul are just like sparks of the larger soul. Like small sparks of the fire is getting into a big fire, like that. So, but in fire, there is sparks are there. Like that, the greater soul is super soul, but in super soul is qualitatively different from the small soul. It's Anu, Vibhu and Anu, like that. Yeah. So super soul is described as is supplying everything to this, Paramajivatma, and the Paramatma is giving everything. So this we have to understand the difference. So then if you understand this, then you will not come into the spell of Maya. The constitutional position you will be there, like smaller soul thinks that qualitatively is also as big as bigger. That's the problem. That's what we are all actually trying to do. And then we don't have our eternal constitutional position, which is Jivere Swarupa Hai Nityara Krishna. We are away from that. Now we have to get into that. So if you get to that state is important. So what we Swamsa is a Supreme Lord, Vivinnamsa are small particles, like that. So Mamai Vamsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. It's telling small living entities are part and parcel of me. So it is impossible that we are qualitatively same as super soul. That understanding a yogi will have. So if you have that, then that yogi will actually get away from the influence of Maya, and then he will be in a position which is self-realized. That is the next verse actually. So we'll go to the 44.
Hare Krishna. Vrishabhanu Kanya Devi Dasi Mataji, you can do the verse and the translation. Vasudha Mataji and Ansuya Mataji, you already read, or you have Ansuya Mataji, have you?
I read Mataji.
Okay, then Meenakshi
Since,
Mataji, you can do the first paragraph of purport and I'll do the second paragraph. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Dalvat Pranam Mataji. Tasmadimam swam prakrutim daivi sadasadatmikam durvibhavyam parabhavya swarupena avatisthate. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. Thus the yogi can be in the self-realized position after conquering the
insurmountable spell of Maya,
who presents herself as both the cause and effect of this material manifestation and is therefore very difficult to understand. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the spell of Maya, which covers the knowledge of the living entity, is insurmountable. However, one who surrenders unto Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can conquer the seemingly insurmountable spell of Maya. Here also it is stated that the Devi Prakriti, or the external energy of the Supreme Lord, is Durvibhavya, very difficult to understand and very difficult to conquer. One must, however, conquer this insurmountable spell of Maya, and this is possible by the grace of Lord when God reveals himself to the surrendered soul. It is also stated here, Swarupena Vatishtate. Swarupa means that one has to know that he is not the Supreme Soul, but rather part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. That is self-realization. To think falsely that one is the Supreme Soul and that one is all-pervading is not Swarupa. This is not realization of his actual position. The real position is that one is part and parcel. It is recommended here that one remain in that position of actual self-realization. In Bhagavad Gita, this understanding is defined as Brahman realization. Hare Krishna, pranams, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, pranam Mataji. After Brahman realization, one can engage in the activities of Brahman. As long as one is not self-realized, he engages in activities based on false identification with the body. When one is situated in his real self, then the activities of Brahman realization begin. The Mayavadi philosophers say that after Brahman realization, all activities stop, but that is not actually so. If the soul is so active in its abnormal condition, existing under the covering of matter, how can one deny its activity when free? An example may be cited here. If a man in a diseased condition is very active, how can one imagine that when he is free from disease, he will be inactive? Naturally, the conclusion is that when one is free from all disease, his activities are pure. It may be said that the activities of Brahman realization are different from those of conditional life, but that does not stop activity. This is indicated in Bhagavad Gita 18.54. After one realizes oneself to be Brahman,
Devotional service begins.
devotional service begins. Mad bhaktim labte param. After Brahman realization, one can engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, devotional service of the Lord is activity in Brahman realization. For those who engage in devotional service, there is no spell of Maya and their situation is all perfect. The duty of the living entity as part and parcel of the whole is to render devotional service to the whole. That is the ultimate perfection of life. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 28th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Kapila's Instructions on the Execution of Devotional Service. Hari Bol, Hari Krishna Mataji Pranam.
Hare Krishna. So here Lord Kapila is concluding that, the relationship of us with the Lord, that Achintya Beda relationship, and trying to help us to understand that, Devahuti is telling that, the spell of Maya is all covering all of our knowledge. And then if you are not able to overcome these, then you can't surrender to the Lord. So when you surrender to the Lord, you can conquer this insurmountable spell of Maya. That is, Daivi Prakriti, external energy of the Lord is very difficult. Mama Maya Duratyaya. What is that verse we have in Bhagavad Gita? Daiviyesha
Gunamayi Mama Maya Dhrutyaya Mamevaya Prapadyante Mayam Etam Tarantite.
Yeah, so very difficult to understand or conquer. So if you conquer, then it's only possible by the will of the Lord or grace of the Lord. So then this is what, Swarupa means not that, one has to know that he is not the Supreme Soul. One has to know that he is part and parcel of the Lord. That is self-realization. We are not the body, we are the soul. That, sambandha, we have to establish that relationship and then we have to work on it. And then the goal is there. What is the final goal we are getting there? Prayojana. The goal is there, right? So then that goal is what? Becoming a servant of the Lord. And then we are not becoming master. We are falsely, if we are thinking we are the master and we are the super soul, then that Swarupa will not be established. That Swarupa means our eternal constitutional position. If you think that, like that, so that is not a realization. That position is not possible. The real position is that we are part and parcel of the Lord. And this is recommended. This position is recommended to attain. Self-realization is that. So in Bhagavad Gita also, the end, concluding verses of Bhagavad Gita, understanding of that Brahman realization is given. The true Brahman realization is, what is that? That when you are engaged in that, when you attain that Brahman realization, it's not that, there is no activity for the soul. The true Brahman realization is, it is oneness that inspires. It inspires means further continues. The soul has got a has got an aspiration to start his devotional service there. 18.54 describes that, right? What is 18.54? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Sochati Na Kankshati. Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labate. Right? Yeah, Madbhaktim Labate. So one who is in that situation, transcendently situated, and then realizes the Supreme Brahman and he becomes fully joyful, is the one Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equal to all living entities, and in that state of mind, he starts executing this pure devotional service to the Lord. For an impersonalist, achieving this state of Brahma Bhuta is becoming one with the Lord. That's complete. That's what they think it's the end of itself. But for a pure devotee, that's not end. It's a beginning. Just like, chanting 16 rounds, we think it's end of our life. It's actually beginning, right? In our Harinam Diksha, what do we hear? When we take the, shelter of the Guru and take initiation, Harinam Diksha, they instruct us, this is your beginning of your spiritual life. So like that, when you go to that stage, Brahmabhuta stage, and in that Brahman realization, the pure devotee has to still go further. The journey begins there. It's just only reaching to the airport, not, taking the flight. You have a boarding pass, you're not getting into the flight. That is what, impersonalists think its destination is reached. But it's not reached, you have to get onto the board to reach. That's where you start engaging your pure devotional service in that stage. That means you have to engage in that, and then that state of liberation is called Brahmabhuta state. That is oneness with Absolute. Means not stopping your activity. Soul has got an activity to do, which is engaging in the devotional service of the Lord. So, as long as you're self-realized and engages, without on the false identification of the body, so purely understanding that, I'm the servant of the Lord, I have to render service to the Lord. And that is what, state of that highest self-realized state. So a perfect yogi is actually renounced all these material activities, and he's actively serving Krishna there with the devotion on that platform, Brahman platform. And Kapila Muni is now actually, responding to Devahuti's question about, what is the process of separating soul from the matter, how it is going to, happen. So all these, Mayavadi philosophers and all, after realization of Brahman, activities stop that is what their realization, but not actually. Soul is active in that state, and then, one cannot deny that if one soul is active in that abnormal condition, existing under covering of matter, how can one deny its activity when free? What is Prabhupada given an example, very beautiful example. Man is diseased condition is very active. How can one man imagine that he is free when the disease is gone? So that when you are in diseased condition, you are a little bit, you have to, do something to get rid of your disease. You can't completely lay down and don't even take a pill or whatever doctors prescribe. You have to work hard to get out of that. You are still active. Then how can you imagine when you are free without disease, you are not inactive? So that reaching that Brahma realization is like a diseased condition, very active. And after that, you think you don't need to do anything, which is false identification. So we have to naturally, what Kapila Muni is concluding is that when one is free from the disease, his activities are pure and he can continue his devotional service from there. He should start actually. So the activities and Brahman realization are different from the condition soul. That does not stop. There's no stop of those activities. Yeah, like how Bhagavad Gita 18.54 says that devotional service begin at that stage. And one has to engage in devotional service there. So those who are engaging in that devotional service there, they are no more under the influence of Maya. They are situated completely under the shelter of the Lord. And then the living entity understands that we are part and parcel of the Lord. And then our duty is to what? Render only service. That is a perfection of life. And they continue there to further achieve that other features of the Lord, Paramatma and Bhagavan feature of the Lord. So that's where, Kapila Muni stops here. And then, he is going to describe further about, Devahuti's question about process of separating the soul from the matter. That is what we have to do. When as long as we are connected with the matter, we are falsely identifying ourselves. We are the body, but we have to understand we are not the body. We are the soul. And when you reach to that stage, how to, after hearing all this, she will ask further questions on the devotional service aspect. Next chapter is all about devotional service. He explains about devotional service. This chapter is instructions, right? What is this chapter? Is the title has
Lord Kapila's instructions on
Kapila's
execution of
instructions.
devotional service.
Yeah, he's giving instructions. Now he will start telling her how to perform the devotion service. Execution of devotion service is there. Now he is going to explain further about devotion service, how to do that. So yeah, so after Brahmabhuta stage, we have an active soul. And that active soul will start working on performing devotional service. It's not like you stop it. You stop means you will fall down. You don't stop there. Understanding of that is not stopping activities. Activities gets bigger and more and more and more like that. You will have more pleasure in performing those activities. Like how after initiation you will have to work hard. I mean, you will naturally tend to do more in the process to get purified, so that you can further progress in your spiritual path, right? Like that. I think we had done our verses today, right?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Anybody has any questions? Devotees, if you want.
Yeah, Pundarika Vidyanidhi, that's right, yeah. That's right. Thank you, Thank you, Suma Mataji. Pundarika Vidyanidhi, he was an opulent king. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Pranams, Mataji. Mataji, when we say that Jnana and Vairagya are the byproducts of the Bhakti, and we are told to practice Yukta Vairagya, no, Mataji? So
Yeah.
when we use everything in the service of the Lord, when will that renunciation will come, Mataji? Like we have seen Goswamis and everybody, even Srila Prabhupada also gave up, took sannyasa and gave up all his family and everything. So I just wanted to know.
That's why we don't need to do all that. The Yukta Vairagya principle is what? Use everything in the service of the Lord. So wherever you are, doesn't matter. You don't need to renounce anything. It's all belonging to Krishna only. Krishna, I mean, nothing is required to renounce. You can actually accept and use it in Krishna's service. False renunciation or renunciation is not required for us. Yeah.
Then how will one person know, Mataji, like whether he's progressing in bhakti? Like they say no, Mataji, like Jnana and Vairagya are the byproducts.
Correct, correct. See, you have to do everything in a detached mode.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Everything in a detached mode. Like even if you are doing a devotional service, don't be attached to that service. You don't renounce the service. No, I don't want to do like that. You can't say that. You do it, but if the service is, someone else is interested to do, detach with the service, do something else. That is what it is, renouncing.
Even for the devotional service also, we should not have attachment, Mataji?
No, even for devotional service, should not have attachment. We can do any other devotional service. There is plenty of devotional services. No attachment is required to do devotional service. That is again increases pride in you. False ego will come. Even in devotional life, these are, as in when you progress further, every aspect is counted. Like, menial services, no one wants to do. Privileged services, everybody wants to do, right? And that privileged services, if someone wants to do, then you be detached with that. If they are qualified. If they are qualified, that is renouncing.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Because I always find Srimad Bhagavatam class very interesting, Mataji. So I have an attachment to Srimad Bhagavatam classes every day. So I just make it a point that I should not miss any of the classes. So
Yeah, but we cannot detach from hearing to Srimad Bhagavatam. We have to hear.
Not like that, Mataji. When you said that devotional service also, that brings pride. So I'm able to contemplate on that, Mataji. So very true, Mataji.
Yeah.
You have to be very cautious.
Correct, correct. We might think, oh, we are reading Bhagavatam every day, and one day pride will come into
That
our
will pride,
heart.
make us proud.
It's not reading actually. It's not reading. It's not sadhana. It's actually our realizations from that reading, assimilating all the readings and trying to observe in those readings and trying to apply them in our life. So reading is different and all these are different. You can read Nityam Bhagavata Seva is always important, purifying to our heart. Shravanam Kirtanam important. Smaranam, all these are important. But are you applying what you are reading is very important. If you're not applying what you're reading, there's no point you're reading. The purification is not complete. Right? Let's say you've got a job, and in the job, you get a appointment letter and you will go and they'll give you some probationary period, 3 months. You will training is all been given to you. Now you have to start working on it, right? You can't say probation finished, everything, job is there now. You can't, you have to work, right? So that is there, application is important. All the information is given for you, all the instructions are given, thoughts, instructions. Don't apply, then false pride will come. You're reading, you might tell, I read 1 time, 2 time, 3 time. But what is coming to you when you read that is important. Any transformation happened in your heart? Are you able to actually example what all the examples we have hearing and seeing in the past tense of the Bhagavatam? Are we able to at least, try to not imitate, but try to apply what the teachings are? That's important.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Sunita Mataji,
Whenever
you
they
can
are,
ask your question.
we are asked, given services, we should not, 1 second, Mataji. We should not
sorry.
do that, no, Mataji. Like, should not be choosy, no, Mataji, in selecting the services also.
Yeah. Selecting the services we can't choose, but if we are asked, we should do. But we cannot say that I will only do this, not that. It's just service coming to us is Krishna's mercy, or devotee's mercy. Whatever service it comes, we should accept it. We can't say, I'm good in this, I'll do only that. Someone may be good in singing, but they may not get opportunity to sing. It's okay. Whatever opportunity get to take it. It's just to reduce your false pride. You are not getting the opportunity. Now we have to understand that, because when you sing you are only singing for the pleasure of the Lord, not to get glorification of yourself in front of everybody. It's a very privileged opportunity, right?
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Apologies, Mataji, for taking time. Hare Krishna.
No problem.
Sunita Mataji, you can ask a question, and then Rohini Mataji can ask. Mataji, you
Hare
have time,
Krishna,
no?
Mataji.
Can we take these questions? No?
Yeah. As long as I am able to answer those questions, Mataji, I don't know.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. This Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva philosophy was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yeah.
Was it the same given by Kapila Dev also, Mataji? To Devahuti, like, in this chapter we heard, no, Mataji?
He is mentioning to her based on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. He is mentioning to her.
But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in Kali Yuga, na, Mataji, like 600 years back. But how was it, Mataji? Like Kapila Dev gave the same instructions to Devahuti, Mataji?
Lord Kapila Dev is the Lord himself only. It's not.
So that was repeated, Mataji, like by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Thank you, Mataji.
To our, in Kali Yuga, to us.
Okay.
That's what I
Rohini
am
Mataji.
understanding. It could be something else also, but my understanding is that.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, just building up on Suma Mataji's question, when a service is given to us and, if one feels that, they won't be able to do the service well, in a way it will displease the person who has given us the service. So is it an offense saying no to such a service when the intention is that we won't be doing it well? So, and I know of someone who can do it better than me. So will it be offense to say no?
No, it's not an offense, but if you have get an opportunity and if there is no other ulterior motive in you that, okay, if there is an instruction given or some training given, if you think I can be able to do it, you can do it without any stress if you think like that. But if you're really into anxiety, I may not be doing and I may not be able to do it. And then if you find someone else who are really appropriate and who know very well that they have this kind of skill set and they will be able to do it, it's a very good opportunity to encourage others to do. It's like you are not loading over that spiritual activity also, and you want to engage others also in that way. So it is purifying to you if you engage others also who are good in that. Let's say if someone asks me to do decorations, I might do, but I can't do justice to that. Then I might say, okay, such and such person is very good. Why don't you ask her, and I will, check with her, or maybe connect her to you or him to you, like that. Yeah. So trying to find the best person to do that service is always good. But if you have an intention, if someone is asked you and you don't know, but it's an opportunity, who knows, it's a test of the Lord. And then if you want to just try to improve on it, or if there is any room for learning, and if you want to do it and try, you can do that also. But if there is an anxiety in you, maybe better not to do, because services has to be done without anxiety. But if there is if you are in a, welcoming the opportunity to learn, then I think you can try and see. Who knows,
Hare
sometimes,
Krishna.
the service may take you further in purification process, and you will not realize that you will be able to do that service. I will realize maybe later. And who knows, it's a test plan of the Lord, or test of the Lord, that you are. Any service asked is, you can do it, and you can express if you are not able to do it. And if the person who is asking you is happy to train or help you, you can go ahead. Otherwise, you can suggest someone else.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, in the service, that same question that you said, that when service is given, if you have anxiety, then it means that you are worried about the result. How am I going to perform?
Yeah.
So you to detach from the result, just for my understanding, I'm asking that one has to detach that, okay, the service is given to me, it is Lord's mercy. I'm going to give my 100%. I may not be the best in decoration, but I'm going to give my 100%. And it may not be the even little bit better than the other person who could do it better, but somebody has given it to me, so it has come to me. So do we look at it that way?
Yeah, so the aspect of anxiety is there based on, if it is, let's say, if it is for Janmashtami celebrations and you're doing decoration, and then you don't want to spoil it, right? Just because someone has asked you and you have to do it, and you want to make sure the best is given to the Lord. Then if you have that kind of worry or fear in your heart, better don't perform that. Just make sure that the best person is allocated that service. So we should know, like when we are taking up some service, we ourselves, our natural abilities will determine whether we will be able to do justice to that seva or not. If that abilities are not there, don't force yourself. Do something which is naturally you can outperform, or give your best to the Lord. So
Understood, Mataji.
always you can draw a line between where you can take it up or where you cannot, based on the constraints you have. Even after some kind of guidance, if you're not able to, you can't push. Someone is not willing to take Srimad Bhagavatam class or give class, so it's okay. You can hear. This is also purification. The speaker, hearer, everyone is required in Srimad Bhagavatam class, right? Everyone is equally getting purified. So like that, even in that service also, don't take a responsible position there. Maybe take a in the decoration there are a lot of aspects. You can pluck flowers and give to the person who is main person who can do it. So that squirrel effects also matters. So Krishna sees, is a Bhavagrahi Janardana, sees our intention, not the bigger picture.
Yes,
Right?
Mataji.
A little bit
Yes.
whatever we can do also.
Yes, Mataji. Understood. So nicely explained, Mataji. There's Bhavika Mataji who is writing Hare Krishna to everyone. It's my humble request if all of you can have one round of Mahamantra for my daughter, Vaish, as she has rarest special disorder which has no treatment in the medical science.
Oh.
I want her to get blessings from all. Yes, Mataji. Sure.
Definitely
Mataji.
we'll do it.
Yes, Mataji, we will do this.
Do more than one round, I'm sure.
We can do 3 rounds of Mataji. Can we do 3 rounds for Bhavika Mataji's daughter?
Yeah, can do. Now
Hare
you
can
mean
unmute
Mataji,
the
can
mic.
we have every day one round at least? Like after the session, after
End
the
of this-
class, every day, yeah, one round every day if we can have.
Yeah, we
If
can
it is
have. We have to
possible.
check with check with the Mataji who is organizing. I'm happy to do it. Chanting is always good to do.
Yeah, Narayani Mataji was mentioning for different reasons we can chant for, people who somebody's birthday, anniversary, like Pavika Mataji has mentioned. So you can do that.
That's good. Yeah.
We will do it today.
Because this is the last
Narayani
hope.
Mataji.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. So devotees, you all
You are
can
in the right
unmute your
place,
mics
Mataji.
and we
Hare
can,
Krishna.
yeah, everybody can unmute their mics so that we have a 3 round of Hare Krishna mantra chanting.
Yeah.
Hari bol to all
Hare
devotees.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, Bhavika Mataji, we pray to the Lord and to Lord Narsimadev for your daughter's protection, and we do extra chanting on her behalf. We hope and pray that some treatment will happen to your daughter, and then she would recover from that.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Can I end the class with prayers?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Panchakalpatarubhyascha,
Thank you very much, Janvi Mataji, for spending time with us and giving us your association.
Mataji, pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
I'll end the class, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to all.